Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday afternoon. Hope yours is going well. We've got another Seahawks video to get to today, but first we just hit 2,140 subscribers to the channel. I want to say thank you to all the subscribers, and special tip of the cap goes to the channel members, especially elite channel members HaWKxXA, Brandon Mikel, Rip, Scott Todd, VGK Tiger 75, Hashers for MVP, and John Harper. All right, it's Thursday, so you guys know what time it is. We're doing the road to 150, and I have some, in a manner of speaking, good news when it comes to the road to 150. But before I get to that, let's go player by player. All right. We're going to start with the defensive line as we always do. Rasheem Green picked up a pressure on Washington's final offensive snap of the game, the 4th and 21 Hail Mary. He was able to actually draw a holding penalty, which would have effectively ended the game, even if the Hail Mary had worked. So that was cool. He's obviously well short of his 2020 goals, but that's what happens when you miss half the season to a neck stinger. So yeah, unfortunate third year disappointment for Rasheem Green, but I still believe he can be a good player, and we may yet see him flash come the postseason. So hopefully he can have a big contribution there at the least. Benson Mayowa remains stagnant at 17. It looks like that injury is going to cost him his opportunity to reach my 2020 goal for him. It just seems very unlikely he's going to amass 7 pressures in 2 games, but I do want to say, for the $3 million we paid Benson Mayowa, I feel like we kind of got our money's worth. I know people are mad at him for what he did against the Cardinals in Week 7, but this is not bad for a $3 million player. Not at all. All right, LJ Collier's next up on the list. He finally had a game where he contributed as a pass rusher. He had been asleep for a few games. So 14 QB pressures through 14 games for LJ Collier. He is now double the 2020 projection. He had a pretty nice game against Washington. He had 2 pressures, including a sack. And the sack was key because it came on that final drive when we were trying to hold on to win. So LJ Collier, I'm not saying that he's justifying that first round pick, because he's not. But he has been a lot better than I expected in 2020. He's doubled his QB pressure projection. Alton Robinson also doubling his 2020 projection. He got to 8. He picked up another QB pressure on Sunday against Washington. It was the strip sack, so it was a big, impactful, meaningful one as well. Yeah, Alton Robinson has more than lived up to my meager 2020 expectations. Also living up to his 2020 expectations would be Demontre Moore, who got back on the field for the Seahawks, and as he pretty much has done in every game he's played this year, picked up 1 QB pressure. So I'm not saying that he's been some superstar for us, but he's been a consistent presence as a pass rusher in pretty much every game he's played for the Seahawks this year. And for the very small amount of money, not even $1 million we gave him this year, I'm pretty happy with what he's managed to contribute for this squad, and keep an eye out for him to matter come postseason time. All right, Jarran Reed, we have a little more good news here. He did pick up 2 QB pressures against Washington. So, again, we're having some real issues with Jarran Reed's production this season. I haven't been too impressed with the way he's played this year, but it seems like he might be coming on strong as the season winds to a close. So if he can do some big stuff this weekend or do some big stuff in the playoffs, that's going to go a long way to making a dent in the gap between his pay and his performance. So Jarran Reed played good against Washington. Here's a name we haven't really been able to celebrate in terms of the pass rush in a while, though. Poona Ford, after really setting the world on fire for about a month as an interior pass rusher, Poona hasn't gotten near the QB in quite a few games now, and I'm not sure if it's just a lull. I'm not sure if it just so happened that he went on a hot streak and you're not going to see him repeat that again, but Poona Ford did not pressure the QB against Washington. He has not pressured the quarterback in what feels like 3 or 4 games. So I don't know if Puna's just reverted back to being a run-stuffing defensive tackle or not, but it's been a little disappointing to see, even though he's well surpassed my 2020 projection. Monet did not play. Darrell Taylor did not play. Shaquem Griffin played very little, if at all. Anthony Rush is on another team. Bullard did not play at all, I don't think. All right, so that gets us to Carlos Dunlap, and he did have a good game against Washington. He had the big sack, and he had another QB pressure. His total jumps 2. He now has 11 QB pressures on the year, which gets him very close to my 2020 projection. He's obviously been a huge contributor for us this year, and him being able to be productive in not only this upcoming game, but the playoffs is crucial to this team's success. Finally, Damon Harrison, still nothing. Not surprising, but I'm a little surprised, maybe a little bit, that he wasn't able to pick up at least one kind of fluky pressure at some point, but it's also not a big deal. All right, so that gets us to the end of the defensive line. They had a pretty good game against Washington if you take into account just the raw totals. If you take into account how many times Dwayne Haskins dropped back to pass, it would have been nice to see a little bit more. But not bad, not great. All right, linebackers, this is going to be quick. No new linebacker pressures. No new linebacker pressures anywhere, so we're just going to move right on to cornerback, where we did see Shaquille Griffin's first ever QB pressure. He picked up one QB pressure on Dwayne Haskins, just one, but given this team has not gotten very many QB pressures out of the cornerback position this year, it feels like it's a little significant, and it's also Shaquille Griffin's first ever career QB pressure. So take whatever little bit you can from that. No other cornerbacks got to pressure the QB on Sunday, so that's pretty quick. And let's go to safety, where, again, we're going to be getting out of here very quickly because Jamal Adams picked up one QB pressure to get to 23 on the year. Still a eye-popping amount. And nobody else did anything from the safety position. So that gets us to the end, and after 14 games, we are now at 150 QB pressures. We got there, guys. We finished the road to 150. 150 total QB pressures on the 2020 season. Is that good? I mean, it's certainly better than 140 or 130 or 120, but if you really drill down into it, we still have some ways to go if we want to be considered a good pass rushing team. Because if you take a look at this, let's take a look at the Seahawks team stats through 14 games. 594 pass attempts faced. 594 times has an opposing QB dropped back to pass and thrown the ball. If you include sacks and QB scrambles, you're probably getting up closer to 650, but let's just take this number, 594. You may remember earlier this year I did a video about this. Pass attempts faced, the all-time record in NFL history. 670 by the 2013 Philadelphia Eagles. So if you do the math, if we face 77 combined pass attempts over the next 2 games, so that's not even 40 per game. If we face a total of 77 pass attempts in the next 2 games combined, we will reach the all-time record. So keep that in mind going forward. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Peace out. Go Hawks. Keep an eye out for the streams later.